Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Spirit, where we take you on a journey to discover and unveil spirituality and healing. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell. My name is Jai Gobind, and this is your channel for grace. And we have
Danny Goodhart from Northern Comfort Tarot. You know the name.
Awesome.
Just wait. I've got a message coming in from Spirit right now, and it's asking me to ask you what tonight's topic's going to be. That's what it was.
That's awesome. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a really amazing topic. I'm so excited about it. We have titled it The Psychic Gifts of Lightworkers. And my excitement with this topic is the fact that I think a lot of us grow up having these very powerful psychic gifts, but because our parents didn't know what they were, we didn't know what they were, we didn't recognize them, we never really cultivated them. And with this discussion, we are literally going to help you figure out where you fit in the spectrum of the different abilities and the different categories of light workers, so that you can start to work on your strongest abilities. And I feel like this is going to help a lot of us become empowered in a way that we never really thought possible.
Uh-oh.
What we want to do tonight is ask someone that is in the chat right now to be our moderator for the evening. And basically what you're going to do is you will copy the questions from the comment section as we go along and paste them in the comments during our Q&A portion of the broadcast, which is towards the end of the video. So if anybody is wants to be our moderator tonight, please let us know. We would so appreciate that. And I guess we could take a moment to say hi to everybody in the chat. Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. Hey, Adrian, Amanda, Erica, JR. You can say hi to Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia.
And Debbie. Hey, Debbie. How's it going? Heather. Good to see you guys. Our tribe is almost all here.
Yay! And you don't actually have to be like an actual moderator. I will make you a moderator if you would like to do that job. But we just wanted to get that figured out before we move any further. So you guys can ask questions along the way, and we will we'll answer those questions towards the end of the broadcast.
So any takers?
Any takers?
Going once, going twice. I might have to do another job, Jai.
Hey, Erica. Oh my God, guys, I was just thinking, I wish they were live. Then bam, that's how we like to do it.
Manifestation, Erica. Wow. You on the ball.
Amazing. You want to do it, Cynthia? Okay, cool. So thank you. I did want to ask you again. I know, right? Nobody else? So that would be really awesome if you could do that. Thank you so much,
Cool.
Cynthia. So
Thank you so much.
thanks for helping us figure that out.
Awesome. So first question, I'm going to throw it at you. It's a simple one. What are some of the jobs, gifts, and tools that light workers can be given, Jai?
Well, in my own personal experience, the very basic things that we have as gifts that I think a lot of us would recognize in a very general way, and that we probably are the most familiar with, are things like intuition. And the other one is empathy. So it's like intuition in the sense of like seeing the unseen, hearing the unheard. That's my favorite way to describe intuition, because it's really just a feeling that you get. And there's more specific ways to talk about intuition, which we will get into. But basically, I feel like intuition and empathy are two of the most common. But there's many, many more gifts and tools. And I'm excited to actually go in depth into this topic. So tonight, we're going to scratch the surface and identify maybe a few of the gifts that you have had this whole time, but didn't really know because you didn't really have the information.
For sure.
So what about you? What do you,
well, like, I guess you could say like your higher self, your angels and ancestors and your guides that are here to help you. Because when when we start off before this journey, we ascribe to having this help that helps us from the other side, right? And we're manifested into the 3D, and pretty much whatever we want, they will provide us. That's the deal, right? So there's those, and then I'm guessing like tarot cards, crystals, moon cycles, rituals, like rituals to protect us, rituals to open your heart or open your chakras up, you know, like healing rituals for yourself as well. Reiki would be another one, right? I don't know. I guess we could, those are like the surface ones that I'm sure anybody can kind of like see on top, but let's dive even deeper now into, let's say, the psychic gifts that
there's like there's one question that comes up to me like right off the bat, and you know, we feel like one way to refer to yourself is as being given these gifts, which is basically like how we're talking about this topic. But then what comes to mind is the fact that I think we actually choose maybe what are psychic gifts or what will be our strengths before we're actually born as light workers. I feel like because we choose, you know, we've talked in previous episodes about, you know,
signing the contract.
Yeah, exactly. So like choosing who our parents are, choosing, you know, who we're going to have these soul contracts with, and then the experiences we're going to have in life. So how do you think that this all kind of plays into the picture when it comes to, like, do you feel like it's actually a gift that is given to us, or do you feel like we actually choose it before we're born?
You know, it could very well be that we make the choice, like, or we make our list of demands, right? They say, okay, well, I don't know, man, that shit's pretty heavy. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to need these tools.
Yeah, right.
To get me through it, right? But other than that, it's going to be easy, right? You know?
I think we think it's going to be easy before, you know, but then we get here and we're like, what just happened? It's almost like we get amnesia.
Yeah, you get the MIB.
You get the little lighty thingy.
Yeah, you get the MIB wipe and you're like, gaga.
Oh my God. The lighty thingy.
Right?
Yeah, that's, so I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to mention that because it just kind of came up for me right now. It is a gift because I feel like not everyone has these abilities. Although I also, at the same time, having said that, I actually do feel that we all have the capability as human beings, as spiritual beings.
It's opening up to it, right?
Right. As spiritual beings having a human experience, I feel like we all have the capability of strengthening these things, of cultivating them is probably a really good word to use.
For sure.
However, a lot of us, our society is not built that way. I feel like maybe in an ancient past where cultures were more connected to nature, because a lot of these abilities, a lot of these gifts are us tuning into our nature. It's like how we are in a very like deep level, like natural level. We have these abilities because we are energetic beings. We are souls that are, you know, using a body to be in this dimension, in this 3-dimensional reality, but energetically we expand like pretty outward. And when we learn to understand that I think that's the point at which we become aware of there's something more here. And this, you know, we talk about awakening. Yeah. And I think in the past, maybe this process of awakening was something that was kind of like cultivated from a young age. But in our society right now, it's almost like no one knows what it is. Like when you talk to, like, if you talk to people, I mean, you should see the people that, like, you know, in my family that hear me talk about spirituality and hear me talk about psychic gifts and stuff like that. And they think it's kind of like a joke. Do you know what
I don't bring that up at the dinner table.
Yeah, exactly. Only with the people that you feel comfortable, like, opening up.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society where, like, we're very vulnerable. Like, it's really vulnerable for us to open up to this, but this is actually our natural state. And that's just something that I wanted to mention. It's like, this is who we truly are. And once we go through these gifts that we've discovered and tell you guys and give you, you know, the specifics and the categories, and you might actually feel that you, like, fit in very easily to one of these specific things. And you might feel like that might be something to go study, to go look up, to go find. And there's tons and tons of books. And if you let your intuition guide you, you know what I mean? You're going to get to this place where you will be guided towards exactly what you need to study in order to strengthen that gift.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, that's a great channeling, man.
Yeah.
Great channeling.
Yeah.
Channeling
Good one.
also,
Good one.
yeah.
Hey, Ellie. Hey, Terry. Hey, guys. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. So what I wanted to do is, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, intuition, because I get a lot of questions from people about, like, what is intuition? There was someone who actually sent me a message and said, you know, I feel like I'm intuitive, but I'm not sure, because the way, like, she didn't know that, like, the way that she was getting messages was actually, that was intuition.
Yeah.
When she figured it out, it was like, oh, like, that is intuition. But unless you know, it's kind of,
unless you know, you don't know.
Yeah, you know,
and you're kind of in the dark.
You don't know what you don't know.
That thing that I pushed away most of my life. Oh, that's the gift. Aha.
The thing I denied, the thing I, you know, people told me I was crazy.
Choked back on.
Someone today in the post that I did to, like, introduce this topic said, you know, I think it was Jess. Like, I think she said, like, that from when she was really young, she had these, like, gifts, and she would tell people, like, mediumship type of thing, where she would, like, talk to people, and she would, like, tell, you know, the adults, and they would be, like, kind of freaked out. These are natural things that we don't need to be freaked out about. No. Like, this is not scary. This is actually, like, the answer to everything we've been looking for. Literally, when you step into your intuitive powers. So what I'm going to go through right now is tell you, like, I'm going to separate intuition into these different categories and give you examples of each. And I want you guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions, to please ask them. We have Cynthia, who is our moderator for the evening. We'll take your questions and we'll bring them up again when we get to the Q&A sections. Don't feel like we're ignoring your questions. We just want to make sure we get to them all at the same time. So when you hear, like, this list, I want you to think about, oh, I've had that experience. I've had that experience. I want you to tell me in the chat if you resonate with some of the things that I'm going to say, okay? Sounds good? All right.
Awesome.
So the first category is called clairvoyance. And clairvoyance is basically psychic seeing. And so this is a very strong intuitive gift that I have, very strong. I will get, literally, in my mind, I will see pictures of things, like images of a certain scene, images of a certain person, images of a certain animal, images of, like, something in nature. It doesn't matter. It's almost like photographs in my mind that pop up. It's almost like a flash, and they pop up. They can be photographs, and they can also be almost like watching a film in my mind. So it's like watching TV.
It's like tarot on the fly.
on the fly. Yeah, actually, oh my God, I never thought of it that way, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is one of the reasons why I say, you know, when people want to learn how to do tarot and stuff like that, that honestly, you don't even need the tarot cards.
True. Very true. I know there was one guy that he showed me tarot in town, and I was like blown away. And he was like, I asked him, well, can you teach me? And he said, yeah. And I says, well, how would you do that? And he says, well, pretty much with blank slips of paper is how he'd teach it, how he's taught it before.
Wow.
Yeah. And you just go on your feelings to hone in that intuition, right?
Wow, that's an amazing example, because that's exactly how it works. To strengthen the gift, you have to start paying attention to it.
Yeah.
That's all you need. First of all, you have to know that that's one of the gifts that you have. And then to strengthen it, you just start paying attention to it. And this is sometimes it's something that you can do by journaling. You know, you could do visualization meditations where you like actively do a visualization. And so you will get better at visualizing. You will get better at like seeing the images, you know? So that's one of them. That's one of the gifts. The other one is clairsentience. So clairvoyance, I do have to say something about the one the first one. Clairvoyance is the sort of, when we say somebody is psychic, this is the gift that we think of. Like people can see into the future. You know what I mean? It's like when we think of somebody that's psychic, that's what we're thinking about. We're thinking about someone that can like see things into the future. You know, it's almost like, oh, the crystal ball, and inside the crystal ball, you can see, you know what I mean? That's the idea of it. And that's clairsentience. I just wanted to mention that because that's when we most commonly think of what being psychic is. But here's the next one. The next one is clairsentience. And this is clear feeling. So
a blessing and a curse.
For those of you, yes. For those of you that would consider yourself a very empathic being, a child that grew up feeling very, very sensitive to the outside world, where you had a difficult time being outside, in public, especially when there was a lot of other energies around, this is a gift that you have. Like, this is literally a gift that you have. If you are a sensitive, emotional person, you are clairsentient. And your emotions are your messages. You might feel something emotionally, and it'll literally connect you to something important, an important message. So what's a good example of this? When you're working with someone, if you're in the field of service or whatever, right? If you're a healer or a spiritual teacher, if you want to be, or even just with friends, okay? Because let's talk simple. Like, not all of us are in that space, right? So when you are, say, with a friend, and you feel an emotion, and you might even say something to your friend like, I'm feeling this like sadness come up. And you guys have like addressed a certain topic or a certain situation. Maybe your friend asked you a question like, what do you think I should do about, the situation with my mom or whatever? And you feel this intense sadness. You might say something like, if, this, I'm feeling this like sense of sadness, and you might speak to that sense of sadness, and in the conversation or out of the conversation will come the message. But it's like paying attention to the way that you feel guides you to the message. And
even distinguishing it, that feeling from it being yours.
Yes, we'll speak a little bit about that.
Well, I know when I get my heightened anxiety comes to me when I'm in like the mall, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so much energy coming at me and all around me with all these people in crowds and stuff, right? So that's where now that I know that's where the anxiety comes from, I can I can start my breathing and kind of like, okay, really start to pick apart this feeling and either hold on to it and take it as my own, or transmute it into love and allow it to flow through me, right? I can also, I guess, put up a wall of white protection light, to kind of protect me if I don't feel like I'm strong enough to really delve into the energy. But I know that's one way I get through an anxious moment.
Mm-hmm.
But even, let's say, being young in the feeling of empathy and that the sensations of other people's emotions, I think it was like Ellie that was saying, how do you decipher that from your ego talking to you? And like, I don't know if you want to speak to that, but like, as far as that's concerned, to me is you really have to put the question in your mind. And this is what I do, is I talk to myself in my mind and I'm saying, is this my emotion? I'm talking to my body now. Is this my emotion? No, it is not. Or yes, it is. And if it is it talking from a sense that of like a centered sense? Is it coming from my being, or is it coming from my mind? Is it logical, or is it truly a feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I've been deciphering that.
Yeah.
Taking that moment and staying with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So I'm going to think about that for a little bit longer.
Okay. We can even leave it to the question section.
Yeah, let's so definitely bring that up, Cynthia, that question up in the Q&A section. But
sure.
I want to get a clear answer for that. So as we move through, we get clairaudience. And this is actually a really fun one. It's a really fun way of receiving intuitive messages. Basically, it's psychic hearing. You hear things, right? Some people literally hear voices in their head. And this is like why sometimes we think people are crazy, because they're like hearing voices. There's extreme cases, you know what I mean? Like schizophrenia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's like that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is basically the ability to hear messages. And I'll give you a couple of examples, because this is actually, this is the most fun one, right? This is the one that feels the most synchronistic to us. This is the one that I feel like a lot of us can really relate to. For example, you're like going through some stuff in your life and you're like driving, in your car to go somewhere. And say you're like, for my own personal example, you're like missing your grandmother or something, right? And all of a sudden, like without doing anything, the car starts playing songs from your iTunes. This has happened to me a few times. And it plays a song that like my grandma used to love. And then I know, right? Because I heard it. I heard the song. I heard the message. She's with me. You know what I mean? Like that's one example. Another one, it could be you are, sitting with someone at a restaurant and you overhear people talking, like you overhear someone's conversation and it's exactly what you needed to hear in that moment. Or it reminds you of something that you really needed to know. Like those are psychically hearing things from the universe.
Yeah. And Dewey also, I think, falls into the category of clairaudience when he's known to, when we're talking or during tarot or whatever, to come up with a song or lyrics in a song, and he posts the lyrics in a song. He's asking right now, does music help to dampen the feelings of high density of people? But dude, you got a gift, and it's called messages through song. And that's clairaudience as well.
Yeah, totally. So that's
Sure.
what clairaudience is. So then we go to claircognizance. And this is like an inner knowing. This is the one that can get a little tricky because it's a little bit harder to like trust, I think. But
Yeah.
this is like, I think this is the one that we resist the most. We get a feeling and we know exactly what we need to do because we got that feeling that said, yes, go to this event. You need to be there. But because there's no, like, it's like we don't trust our intuition. We haven't learned to trust our intuition. So we mostly resist those kind of messages. But guess what? If you listen to it, you go to that event, you meet this person that you were supposed to meet, you start this new project, you're on your way, you know what I mean, to abundance. And that was your inner knowing. Your inner knowing told you, yes, go.
That's like your gut guidance.
Yeah, that's like the gut feelings that they're always there. I know you guys have had them. It's really important to trust that. And see, part of the answer to that question is coming up. But you will know because it's the first thing that you think of or you feel. It's the very first thing. It's not the second. It's not the third. It's not the fourth. It's the very first initial reaction that you have. That's the one. You got go with that one every single time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't lie.
And that's a good way to practice too through it, is like to just like, okay, today I'm gonna go with my first inner knowing. I'm gonna go with that first gut reaction. And it's not, and you'll see over time that it just like, it's bang on the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. So the next couple they're a little less common, but these are called Clairaudience and Clairgustance. Clairaudience is psychic smelling. This happens when, say, you're walking around and all of a sudden you get a whiff of something, but it's not something that's present right there in front of you. Say you're walking around and you're thinking about someone and all of a sudden you smell the smell of roses and you're like, oh my God, I smell roses, right? And that's a message for you because maybe roses were significant in your life at a certain point in your life. Or maybe you very intuitively know what roses mean to you. So when you smell roses, you're like, that's, you know what I mean? You understand that is a message that's being communicated to you. And a lot of times our spirit guides, angels, and teachers will and are communicating to us through these ways, and we just don't realize it.
Yeah, and you can see how clairsentience kind of plays on the inner knowing. Like when you smell something and wow, this is this person or this place, or I remember, like it brings back that memory. It's kind of like, I had a roommate once, and she'd smoke, and I'd bitch, like she'd smoke out the back door, and I'd be like freaking out, and I'd be like, you got to stand outside because this is a non-smoking house, and it lets, like, the smoke just comes right in the house. So after about a year after she left, I can smell now. Every once in a while, I'll smell cigarettes, and I'll know, almost like a knowing that she's there. She's thinking of me. She's, that there's that knowing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So they kind of tie into each other, and you'll notice that these gifts, that's what they do, is they tie into each other and play on each other. Yeah.
Totally.
So,
and then the next one is the clairgustance, which is tasting. So you'll get the taste of something in your mouth, the flavor of a certain kind of food in your mouth. And that food like connects you to a certain memory, a certain vision, a certain image. And then you combine the two messages together to create a more clear picture of what's being communicated through you. And so, and that's in a nutshell. And, the cool thing is that I'm actually, right now, I'm planning to have 3 master classes in June.
Oh yeah.
One of them is going to be a master class on intuition, where I'm going to teach you guys. I mean, this is just like surface stuff, but I'm going to teach you guys in more detail, like how you can figure out like your intuitive gifts and strengthen them. And I'll actually give you a meditation that you can do to actually strengthen your intuitive gifts. That's one of the master classes that I'm going to teach. This is especially for people that are really wanting to step up the game. You know what I mean? Like okay, I have a gift, I know it, and I really want to know how to strengthen it. So that's what we're going to learn to do in that class. And then the other one is actually called the Moon Goddess Masterclass, where I'll teach you about the moon centers, which is one of these, emotional, empathic ways that women can be very intuitive. So those two have like very closely connected to your intuitive gifts. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I will be coming up with the links to sign up and everything very, very soon. And they're going to be like super, super affordable, but they'll be 2 hour long. Each one will be 2 hours, and they will be master classes. And when I get the third one figured out exactly what it's going to be, then I will let you guys know. But there's a topic that I'm thinking about that's going to be really awesome. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
You got to wait for that inner voice to.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to, you got to be okay with being patient with it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know those are the big 6, right? That that pretty much need to be said. But there's like there's others that hold true to, and you might not even know that you're doing them, actually, even more so than like intuition and delving into these. It's almost like kind of missions that we have while we're walking our path and on our journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can talk to you about some of them that I found out along my way through Googling and stuff, and as well as in my QHHT session that I did, right, through hypnosis therapy. It was kind of brought out and shown to me the reasons why. And like, let's talk about the first one here, grid workers and gatekeepers. So grid workers, there's many different types. There can be the grids that, the ties that bind us, let's say, like our heartstrings, and the ties that bind our tribe together, right? Like we work on these every time we feel love, and we emanate that love towards each other, and we work that way. And we like holding focus on the energies in the connections is really how we strengthen those connections. And that's grid work. That's a form of grid work. Another form of grid work is, and you'll have to help me with this because I don't know about the wording and stuff, but I know that there's energy grids that flow all over the world.
Well, it's like a spider web. This is an easy way to think about it. It's like a spider web of energies that surround the earth, and they're all interconnected and weaved together. And there are certain sites on planet Earth that have been specifically placed on those points. It's almost like the meridian points of the planet. And there's certain points on the planet where a lot of these energetic lines meet. And so it's almost like a powerhouse. It's like this portal, an energetic portal that can literally help you step through to higher dimensions. And we're talking like the pyramids, right? The ones in Egypt, but also talking about like the ones in South America and Mexico, Peru, Machu Picchu, places like that. These usually are like very famous and ancient historical sites. But usually back when they were built, it's like they were chosen specifically because there was like powerful energies in those centers.
Absolutely. And like there's one by you too, Mount Shasta, right?
Well, Mount Shasta is in California, is in Northern California. It will be closer to me when I actually move to Oregon, but that's a place that I definitely want to visit, like 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at a map, and this came out in my QHHT session, and it kind of sparked that inner wanting to know more information. And I looked on the map that close to where I live, right? And it turns out that there's like a meridian or an energetic line that runs right by here. And a lot of energy work that I've done, I've been told by the energy workers, or the like when I did I forget what that was, but the workers were saying, well, you know, you might be placed in the place that you're living and you're feeling all alone and by yourself, and you're the only light worker that's really doing much good there for a reason. And that's to keep the energy flowing along the meridian lines, right? And sure enough, it was right through here. And I think more than halfway out through my life, I was called to go to school, and school turns out to be in like an epicenter of a pentagram that it's like this huge circle around Lake Superior kind of thing. And it delves into Southern Ontario, like Canada. But it was like, wow. And even more so, I feel called to like the West Coast and like the Tofino area on Vancouver Island. And that too, it's that inner calling to want to be somewhere and want to go back and want to, that might be you being a grid worker.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other things too, like it gets deeper where you can end up working into the crystalline grids and opening portals and stuff to allow like
there's a really good book,
major energies to come through.
Yes. And sorry, I just got the image of the book, you guys.
Dude, that's what Spirit's all about.
I just got the image of the book. If you want to learn about this stuff, there's a book called The Serpent of the Light, or Serpent of Light, and it's by Drumvalo is the author. And he goes into like the Kundalini energy of the earth, and he tells you the story of how he was part of this huge global ceremony that they had to help the Kundalini energy travel from where it once was, because the Kundalini energy travels and it spends a certain amount of time in a certain specific place of the earth. It was in the Nepal area for a long time, and now it's found in Peru near the coastal area. And they had this huge ceremony to help that Kundalini energy cross the Panama Canal. So, because that's where it got stuck. And so they all did a global ceremony to help the Kundalini energy reach to Peru. And so he tells about this story in that book. So Definitely get that book.
Yeah, that's for sure.
He explains it really, really well.
Yeah, and then there's even like groups that's where we get into gatekeepers, right? And they open up portals into different dimensions and stuff to allow things through. That raises the vibration of Gaia, which is super cool. But that's more intense.
She's alive.
She is alive. Yeah. And that what they do is they kind of bring intense healing at times that need it, or there's different things that they can bring through the gates. But yeah, another thing too, I don't know, light keepers.
The divine light keepers?
Yeah, the divine.
Yeah, I can talk about that one.
Sure,
so we can just switch off. We have this like list of categories for you guys. So divine light keepers, these are beings that they're like almost like their purpose is to retain this higher vibrational frequency and light despite what is happening around them. So they have this tendency, they have big auras. So these are like spiritual teachers. We're talking the Dalai Lama, right? We're talking, if we go into the past, we're talking Buddha, we're talking goddess Isis. We're talking these beings, high priestesses and high priests, also as well, like that energetic power to be a powerhouse, to almost like gather the people, right? Jesus Christ, another really well example, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, like all of these beings, like Anna, grandmother of Jesus. Like all of these beings were those carriers, those divine light keepers, where they went, they drew people in, because they had this power, this light that was so big that attracted people and helped them to feel the light, see the light, and want to reach for the light. So that's what divine light keepers are. So why don't you tell us about the next one, which is transmuters?
Yeah, and I know that I do this one, and it came out in my QHHT thing too. It was kind
I do too, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's transmuters. What we do is we delve into gnarly energy, like negative energy, and we naturally transmute it back into love or light. Like we transmute it, and we do it all the time. It's like a part of our empathic gift is we're almost like sponges, and this stuff comes to us, right? So if it gets super deep, like I think I had an episode last night where I might have choked on a chunk through the Magi readings there of energy that needed to be transmuted back into love and release.
Mm-hmm.
That's what transmuters do. So yeah, I learned that I didn't even have to leave the house, and I was serving purpose. I was doing purpose.
Exactly.
And that was
So,
super cool.
yeah. So we've got healers is the next category. So you might find yourself being a healer, like drawn to helping people heal. These people literally use many mechanisms to heal. So Reiki, body work, shamanic healing work, energy work. There's so many different, like working with crystals to help heal, working with the chakras. This is like meditation teachers, like Kundalini yoga teachers. Like these are people who can help you heal, right? They heal others emotionally, physically, spiritually, energetically, and also mentally. So it's like body, mind, spirit. And you might feel yourself like really connected to that kind of path, or really desiring to be in that space, which might make you a healer.
For sure. And I know we'll talk about it in a bit, like, but I do have a portion of that in me. And I've been told that I was sent here to be a healer. So not to mention I'm healing myself. So it's kind of rubbing off on people as we go along, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big one is mediumship. And mediums really have opened their third eye and awakened that sense of like seeing auras around people, right? And we're talking about the deep gifts that one can get to bring messages, to inspire people, to heal them, to release blockages in them, and to bring them messages from the other side, from loved ones and stuff like that.
These are people that you would go to if you want to like talk to your grandma that passed away, or if you want to connect with a loved one that passed away, especially if they passed away like all of a sudden. It tends to get a little bit scary, and you didn't get to say goodbye. You know what I mean? It's like those situations are what actually can lead you to a medium.
The psychics, I call them.
Yeah.
Like the down hard, wholesome psychics. Like I wouldn't even factor that into being like tea readers and stuff. That's more of like a tarot kind of reader, right? But these people, they can see into your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable when you actually meet one. And I think in the Earth School for Lightworkers, you brought one in, Lindsay, right?
Yep, exactly. I was thinking of Lindsay too.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got dreamers, and I definitely feel like I'm a dreamer. So if you have found yourself like you're always kind of gazing up at the sky, looking up at the clouds, like wondering, curious about the universe, the stars, other systems, the galaxy, it's all so exciting to you. Like then you most likely are a dreamer. And what your gift is to be able to travel through these dimensions to it's called astral travel, right? While you're sleeping or even while you're awake. In meditation, you can also astral travel, but these are people that will travel to different dimensions, will bring back knowledge, will go through these portals. They can also be able to transmute energy. But what they're actually doing is accessing knowledge from different dimensions or source energy through dreaming,
For sure.
which is like so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I swear there's a tab that in me that needs to be exercised and like, and worked into honing that gift. So I can utilize it more, right. In my ascension. The next one is messengers, divine messengers. And really what these people do is they use clairaudience, right? To cross into the other side of the veil where the spirits, our ancestors, our spirit guides, they can even gain messages from their higher self and your higher self, but like that you need an intervention or someone needs an intervention and they feel called to go to these people and places and deliver these divine messages to them. I had the opportunity to read for one actually last week, and unbelievable the places that she's just gone to and walked up to the person that she felt was the message that needed to be said, and she'd walk up to them and state the message and their minds would just be blown. So divine messages are pretty wild. I'm going to take the next one too because I'm jumping. I love this one. And
okay.
It's pretty much like, I think you're more of a way shower, right? But I'm an ascension guide. And a lot of people that are more defined on their path are ascension guides, because they're the ones that are ascending, sharing what they've learned along the way with people. Pretty much conversations of spirit, that was us saying, we need to take our conversations from just over the phone or in
right.
a chat and take it to these people, because in there are messages and guidance that can elevate their energy and move them forward on their journey. So that's
and then way showers are people that have awakened, they have ascended, and now they're embodying the teachings through action and by inspiring others, because their actions actually inspire other people to like step up, to like, be in that, sacred space with the universe, like co-mingling with the universe, like co-creating with the universe. And we all have that ability. You might be on the way to become that, or to embody that, or to, have that as your essence, but you might feel very strongly connected to this, this type of purpose. And I would say, because we're talking about intuition, whichever one of those like really attracted you, then listen to that. The other thing I was going to say is, I know I recommended that book, The Serpent of the Light. After you read that book, go watch the movie Stargate.
Yeah.
An old movie, but go watch the movie Stargate. It's good. It's really good.
I remember that one, and I haven't watched it in a long time. I think that's definitely something I'll be watching tonight. That's for sure.
We watched it with Dawn like not too long ago, and we freaking loved it. Yeah. And he actually, anyways. So, there's other gifts too that I'll just briefly name. We don't really have time to go over them, but I'll just briefly give you some of these other gifts. So you might be able to like automatically write, like you might be channeling and something tells you, go write this down, and you'll be writing that down. That's a gift. Also speaking. That's very strong. What's one of my very strong gifts for me? It's like I'll be inspired to speak, to say something, and the story just like keeps flowing through me, right?
Absolutely.
This is allowing spirit to flow through you. That literally why I call my channel Channel for Grace, because that's literally what's going on. You like open yourself up to be that channel. The other one is channeling, allowing a spirit to use you as a vessel. So when you think of Abraham Hicks, or Esther Hicks is the woman that channels Abraham. And in order for her to channel Abraham, who is actually a group of spirits, it's like a co-op, you know, they all work together, but they're like the voice, and they call themselves Abraham. And so that's what we call her, Abraham Hicks. But what she does is she goes into this sort of like trance, and she lets herself literally be used as a vessel to speak the message. So those are all the different categories. So I hope that was really exciting information to you guys. I know I freaking love it. And now it's time for us to do a reading. So we're going to use our cards and do a reading for all of us. Asking our spirit guides, our angels and teachers to bring us a message, to bring this message as part of our conversation. What can we all learn from this?
I've got some cards.
Go ahead, have at it.
And one gift that we have that kind of helps us hone in other gifts is boundaries. Healthy boundaries for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it cuts out the distractions and also I'm getting a message right here now. It's the triggers that we work through are also gifts for healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To raise our vibration that way. The drum and ceremonial.
Ooh,
yeah,
I
ceremonial
love
things, sacred items that are gifted to us from spirit in most cases, like feathers and that stuff. That those are also gifts, and they hold heightened energy in them. And with the drum, I know it's a healing tool that we can use to get into that rhythm of Gaia, back into that grounded rhythm. So the message I'm also getting, and really to tie up this reading that I've got, is blessings in disguise. What appears to be a problem is actually part of your answered prayer. This is just reading it. You'll understand the reasons behind your present situation as everything resolves. Trust in heaven's protection and infinite wisdom to answer your prayer in the best way. But these blessings in disguise.
I know. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It's
a message. Yeah, that's it right there, because we tend to think that we have a problem. Something's wrong with us. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with us. I love
Absolutely. So they're saying steady the course. Come into balance is really another gift that needs to be exercised. And you will have all that you ask for, all the success, everything that you need to manifest into your life to guide you. It's like, bam, right there.
Love it. I love this part of the show. Yeah. So is that it?
That's it for me.
I mean, it was a lot, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
so let me show you the cards that I pulled. We got break the chain. For part of this process, you need to in order to step into your gift, your intuitive gifts as a light worker, you need to let go of the things that hold you back from like believing in yourself. Like you got to believe that you are a magical being, and you need to let go of the trauma. You need to let go of the past. So this is ancestral patterns that you're releasing. This is healing. This is you literally rewriting the future. You are the ever unfolding rose. You are cracked open. And you have to remember that this is happening for you, not to you. You have these gifts because this is literally your gift in this lifetime to bring more light to the world. You are ever unfolding, and you have to literally trust your path. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? right? You would like fully activate. You would like just feel amazing. You need to, you get the mirror card. So like who or what is triggering you. So what this to me is saying is it's important for us to look very closely at those things that trigger us, because like you just said, Danny, those are opportunities for us to heal.
Absolutely.
And see what's reflected. What do you see in other people that you also see in yourself? Because that's also an empathic way to connect with other people. That's another one of your gifts. We've got Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying the foundations, divine plan. This is more than just us, you guys. You're not the only one.
Absolutely.
I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. Like none of us, like we're all together. We're all in this together. There is a divine plan. We are all part of it. We are literally seeding the light. And what we got to do is freaking leap.
Sacred geometry. What's within us all that ties us all together is another tool. I got 10 of Cups as well. Joy, contentment, gratitude, you know, being in that
radiance.
Radiance, yeah. It's raising your vibration. All these things are little things are add up to the big things, right?
You go first and the universe will catch you. Freaking love that. I freaking love that. So that's the message from my cards. I love it. So we are going to do a little Q&A. So Cynthia, who is our moderator for the evening, thank you so much for doing that for us. She will start posting questions for us one at a time that you guys have been asking throughout the chat, and we will answer them for you. So
I just looked at this card.
What is it?
Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts.
Oh, love that. Dude, oh my God.
I don't know where it was just there.
That's amazing. I know. I like absolutely these cards came out like so gently, you guys. Like I wasn't even shuffling like I usually do. I'm like shuffling hard and fast. And it's like, this was like a very gentle, like it just kind of like flew out onto the deck very gently and very beautiful and very like soft and very like compassionate and loving and nurturing. So this message is like coming to us with like unconditional love from straight from source energy. So our first question is from Ellie, how do you distinguish between intuition and ego? Okay, this was the question that I wanted to say till the end.
For sure.
So there is a difference, and at the same time, you can't really not use your ego, because like your ego is your identity, right? Like there's a reason why we have an ego. The ego helps you to figure out your desires. Do you know what I mean? And the ego is what like guides you to certain things that, you know, it brings personality to you. Do you know what I mean? It brings personality. And so when you are receiving intuitive messages, as long as you're going with the gut feeling and you're not jumping into like the next world of logically trying to figure it out. Like if you're logically trying to figure out an intuitive message, that's where the ego got in the way. But the ego doesn't necessarily need to be put aside because it plays a role, but it definitely needs to be it needs to not take over.
They're saying impulse.
What's that?
Impulses are more of an ego.
Right. Impulses are an ego thing? Well, the gut instinct is kind of like, can also be considered an impulse, I think anyways. More of like a, but yeah, so when you think about, I know it's a challenging question, but
yeah, no, it was a good one.
It's a really good one. I think that, you know, in the end, what you have to consider is this me listening to my intuition, or am I just trying to find the logic in the situation? Because this intuition is not logic. You cannot say, well, you can't think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe this or maybe that. No, that's ego. Intuition is like, oh my God, I just saw this image. Oh my God, I'm feeling this really intense emotion right now. Oh my God, I just got this really like chills down my body. You know, oh my God, like it's more of it's intuition is more feeling it in your body, and the ego is being in your head.
And it's more clear, I find too. It's not like it doesn't come from racing thoughts.
Exactly. So good question, Ellie.
Next up, Talk. What do we got? Yeah, you shouldn't have to analyze it. If you're analyzing it, then
right. Yeah, exactly. There's no analyzing this. Like we didn't do any analyzing of these messages we just did. We just like came with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't think about it. I just like let it come out. I didn't have to think about what I was going to say. It just came through.
Yeah. And if you want to hone it in too, try doing tarot cards at home. That's a great way of honing in your intuition. Is like you get to see the pictures, but really feel first into the card. You know, and feel what you see, and after a while it kind of just comes to you.
All right, here we go. Next question. Do you want to read it?
Oh, this one, yeah, I kind of glanced at it while we were talking away. Does music help to dampen those feelings in a high density of people? So like in a crowd, does music help dampen? And he's talking about anxiety, negative feelings and stuff. Well, I know in a crowd,
it might be
that's at a rock concert or something, I'm good. But that too can also be like everyone's like loving it, and they're all in a higher vibration because they're like, woohoo, they're in it, right? But what are your thoughts?
So I mean, what I did, like I imagined myself in a situation where I was getting anxiety because I was in public or something like that. Music, and then I imagined myself, okay, like, can I use music to help me like get rid of these feelings? And I've got to tell you that there are times where nothing will take that uncomfortable feeling away except removing myself from the situation. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm listening to a calming song. Like, if I'm in that anxiety, like space, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, like nothing will do it. It's almost like I need to get out and I need complete silence. And I need to like gather myself. Yeah. Like that's my personal experience of that.
Well, it can also be like a distraction too, like taking a shot of rye or whatever, or you know, like music can help distract you from that situation, but it depends on how far gone you are, right? Mm-hmm. Like I could.
Right, exactly. I think you're right too, because maybe you can kind of recognize it in the, you know, very early on and be like, okay, we're going to try to do what we can to like calm ourselves. What helps more for me personally is breathing.
Yeah, I was just
breathing.
Yeah. Breathing, you can toss up a weight later protection kind of thing. But yeah, anything to kind of center yourself and bring yourself back into balance, I would say.
Here's what I say. If it works for you,
go with it.
Use it. Do you know what I mean? If it works for you, then like do it.
For sure.
Yeah. What other questions do we have, Cynthia? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's like focusing on a song is really, you know, bringing your energy inward, dude. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if it works, go with it, dude. Allison said, since I've been meditating more, raising my vibration, it seems it may have attracted lower vibration being. It may have attracted a lower vibration being, that is.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, since I've been meditating more, raising vibration, it seems I may have attracted a lower vibration being. That is. Does this happen when you open yourself more to psychic gifts. Any advice on how to handle this? I mean, to me, it's like I would kind of like to know more details about the specific situation, because raising your vibration, like there's a difference between awakening and raising your vibration and opening yourself up to receive.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like there's a difference between that. When you raise your vibration, more than likely you will repel negative energies.
Yeah, because it's at a lower vibration, right? Like you.
Right. Unless there is something that you have not dealt with in the past. And so you're still attracting it on a vibrational level. It's almost like if there's something in your life that comes up that you need to deal with energetically, then that means that you are still a vibrational match to that. And so in order to move through it and beyond it and release it, you need to like face it. Like face that fear, face that trauma.
It's coming up for healing.
Right.
Like it could be a past life thing too, that you don't really even understand why it's happening. So if you need to go for help.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but go ahead.
Oh, I definitely go for help if you need it. There's people like Jess that can bring you into hypnosis and kind of dig into past life stuff and yeah, like bring out that entity that may have attached to you in previous lives or whatever, and to heal it and transmute it into love and send it off.
And then, there's a really good video by Teal Swan called something, if you just search for Teal Swan on YouTube and then Psychic Vampires, that's a really good video to watch. And she does actually speak to the fact that people can't actually steal your energy, but you can, based on your perception of what's going on, stop your own energetic flow from your source energy into your own body. And when that happens, you might feel drained. You might feel, all these things that there are these negative experiences. But it might be that you just closed yourself off to source energy. And all you have to do is just like open it back up.
Mm. Opening your heart center. You can also, Allison, check out Whispers of Grace Healing and contact Jess. And if you need any help, we're here to help you.
There's another thing too that's coming up for me right now is the question, does this happen when you open yourself to more psychic gifts? The truth, there is a truth to us stepping into this new world that we're not really aware of, and opening ourselves up to receiving more messages or more clear messages. And I believe that it is also possible that you might get overwhelmed by it. And that is why it's important to practice your intuitive gifts, and also make sure that you are creating a shield of protection around you. Because I think what happens, it's not that we get entities come into us. I think what it is mostly is because honestly, when I feel that an entity is attaching itself to you, is because you are somewhat in a weaker kind of energetic state, right? That there's not a shield of protection around you. But when you're in a higher vibration, you're in a stronger state, those things can't, they won't attach to you. Do you know what I mean? They can't live in, in that energy, in the light. Yeah. But I do feel like we become more sensitive to the perception, sensitive to receiving the gifts. So they might get more clear, more visual, more colorful, more louder, right? The messages might get louder if you have clear clairaudience or clairaudience. They might get stronger emotionally, you might feel it stronger because you have become more sensitive to them. It's not that you have become sort of like a magnet for all this stuff. It's just that you become more sensitive. So it could feel overwhelming for sure.
And that brings me to, like, there was a girl in my tribe that came to me with this, as she was doing light work and playing with the cards, there was an entity that came to her and visibly showed itself to her as a man in a suit. And he was yelling at her, and the message really was for me that this entity was contacting her, and he was angry with me, and she really came to me and said, you know, I think you need to protect yourself more, because there are as you step into your power, you can arouse angry kind of things out there that want to stop you from moving forward. And like, I get, you can also, if it can go with perception as well. If you perceive it to actually have power over you, then you're giving it the power over you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you got to take that power back and say, exactly. It kind of freaked me out. And then it came down to last night after talking with someone that, you know, this is my fucking power. I'm not giving it. I'm not wasting any more energy on what this is trying to suck from me. Energy vampire. So I just said, you know, I'm done with you.
You can literally ask like spirits and things like that to leave. Because when you're like, so I remember the book Lightworker by Savannah Arienta. You might want to read that book, Allison. She does talk about having those very intense experiences as a child. And then seeing her cousin or something like that. I think it's her mother's brother who died as a kid at a young age. She, as a child, she sees him and they play together and stuff like that. And it's all fun and games until they start playing with the Ouija board. And, you know, they start hearing the voice of something that's not like fun and games, you know? And so they literally have to like, okay, like this is not a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the specific story to that. But there is some truth to making sure like that you stand your ground, you know, and you can ask, you know, these spirits to leave. Like, we're not open for business. Do you know what I mean?
You can pull a full-blown exorcism on them, but really the best way to approach it is to approach it with unconditional love, as it is a thing that came to show you something. And you can say, well, you know, I at this time, I'd like to ask you if you'd like to be transmuted back into love energy and sent off into source, because that's what we're here to do. And you can actually, I'm getting goosebumps all over. Okay, dude, then you can go.
And the other, so there's another story too. She talks about how this little girl, you know, started coming to her, and the little girl wouldn't go away. She asked the little girl to go away, but the little girl wouldn't. She didn't know how to help the little girl. It was a spirit of a little girl. And then one day something happens where she's like, she's supposed to go this one way, but something changes in her day and she ends up going this other way, and she ends up at a coffee shop, and she ends up meeting, you know, with this woman. I think she ends up doing these like psychic reads at a coffee shop or something. And a woman comes to see her, and she's all distraught because her daughter recently died. And that was the little girl. Like, the little girl knew that she was going to like meet her mother. And so after she talked to the mother and like relayed the message, the little girl went away. So sometimes it's like somebody needs help communicating to someone, and you might be, because you have these psychic abilities, they might choose you because you can see them. They'll hang around just so they can try to get your attention because they need to say something to someone, you know what I mean? So it's like, these are examples of like real things that happen, you know?
It's true, and I know people that's happened to. And even like right now, us talking about this topic and answering this question, all these hits that you're seeing us get, that is using the clairs.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was a great question. It spawned so many answers. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Cynthia,
So any other questions, Cynthia? Jess says, I feel there might be a difference, though. I always listen to my gut. I can feel a clear difference between spirit and low vibrational energy. My gut sinks when it's bad stuff. Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Good point. Very good point. If it's spirit, whether they are happy or confused or hurt, I help them however possible. Yes. Cynthia from JR. Do intuitive gifts manifest differently within the divine masculine and the divine feminine?
From what I've known, the divine masculine is about action. So he's more centered into 3D doing. And I think they have more strength in that, because like the feminine energy is more of heart-centered, intuitive, you know what I mean? Like you'll get even in tarot, right? The magician would be the masculine, where he has all the tools in front of him to kind of, where the high priestess is the one that has access to the divine knowing and stuff. So I think if we're going to separate it, and really you shouldn't, because we hold both inside of us, both energies, and really in order to step into our higher power, we have to come into balance those divine masculine and divine feminine energies, right? But yeah, like the divine masculine would have more of the ability to really play with things in the physical. They'd have more of a power to do so, where and react to things and be quick to that, where the divine feminine would be more in her knowing, you know, and her power comes from within for sure. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Jai?
So here's a really simple way to think about it.
Okay.
Intuition is the sacred divine feminine manifesting itself through you.
Dude.
Divine masculine is you taking the action to relay the message. And
that's where you get balance.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So like it's not that we have more, like, because in that question, that makes me think of, are you, like, you might be thinking about like women versus men kind of a thing. I'm not sure, but it could seem that way to someone.
Yeah.
But the truth is that we all have divine feminine and divine masculine. The feminine is our intuition. The sacred feminine is our ability to see the unseen and hear the unheard. It is all of these messages. So the masculine energy, the divine masculine energy, is what gives us like the courage to take action, to like relay the message, or, you know, in our lives, like make things happen. So you get the message, but you could literally sit there and do nothing with it. Or you can use your sacred divine masculine energy to take action, to do what the message is asking you to do. Stepping into your purpose is a sacred divine masculine action. Listening to your intuition is a sacred divine feminine action. But that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have let you go first, but for the layman, I think I can.
No. You did, like, that was a good answer to it as well.
Yeah, it was the struggle, right? Like when you're not in your power, or you're just new to your gifts, you'll see that separation. But when you step into your power, you'll see the balance starting to work for you. And just by putting action to that intuitive side of you, that's where the magic happens. Yeah.
If there's any other questions, I think that might be the last question. Actually, that's my intuition, is that's the last question. But let us know, Cynthia, And we do want to thank everybody for being here in the chats. This is a show that we do every single Thursday. Every week we switch off. Okay, cool. It's the last question. So every week we switch off. This week, 1 week we'll do it on my channel. And the next week we do it on Danny's channel, which is Northern Comfort Tarot. So make sure that you guys subscribe, especially if you're new, you're watching this video for the first time, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay. We so love you guys being here. Please give us feedback if there's something that you want to learn about, if there's something that you guys want us to talk about, to study, to bring to this show, then let us know in the comments, especially if you are watching the replay. We love getting comments and receiving that feedback. So definitely let us know how you feel, how this resonates with you or not. It's all good. You're allowed your experience. And make sure that you guys follow Northern Comfort Tarot. Will you put up like some like a comment or something so that they can see some emojis, so they can see your channel and maybe click on it and follow you? Because next week for episode 7, we are going to go live on Danny's channel, Northern Comfort Tarot. So I just want to thank you guys so much for joining us live tonight and also for watching the replay. Please share this video out with your friends. Make sure that if you're in the chat right now, do this for me right now. X out of the live chat, hit the thumbs up, and then come back into the live chat. Do that for me, please.
I'm going to do it right now too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and me too. And then, like I said, we're always welcoming in suggestions for future topics, so leave those in the comments. And if you haven't yet checked our previous episodes, definitely go do that. We had an episode about the law of attraction. We had an episode about light workers. We had an episode about empaths. We had an episode about stepping into purpose, and an episode about twin flames. Wow, I just remembered all of them.
Oh yeah, wow.
Amazing.
What happened the other day?
Yeah, I don't know. So definitely go check those out, you guys. So what we do is we go live on one channel, but then we upload the video into the other channel. So both channels get the video on them. So you can check through mine or you can check through Northern Comfort Tarot if you're watching on that channel. So have an amazing evening, you guys, and we will see you again next week. Sat Nam.
Namaste. Take care, guys. Love you so much.